Hey guys, it's Fail34, and today I'm doing an episode review on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 13, One of Us. Alright guys, so this episode starts off with the supervillains getting together, and they're being led by Sky's father. This supervillain team comprises of the lady with razor fingernails, the guy who's really strong, and the dude who's really techie and good with cyber stuff. It then cuts to Sky and Colson talking to each other, talking about how she's on the index now of superheroes and people who have superpowers. This is a really important and pivotal part of the whole story of this episode. It's really following how she's supposed to behave now that she's on this list, and it leads into the other actions that follow in the episode. We then go to Mockingbird, aka Bobby, talking to Simmons, and they're really discussing about the change in Sky's genetics. There's a cool Easter egg how Simmons is actually referring to the Inhuman gene when she mentions the part about her genes being latent and they were meant to be there to be, unleashed or changed. Next, we deal with what happened in the last episode with Hunter, Bobby, and Mack. So in this scene, we just pretty much have Bobby and Mack just trying to figure out what they're supposed to do with Hunter now that they knocked him out, and they have to, explain why his absence is there. They have a good scene in the episode where they describe that. The next part of the episode is we get the psychiatrist of a sort who comes in to analyze Sky and see what her abilities are and how to treat them. This person is someone that we know not at all. Agent May is the one who comes and picks up the person for Sky, and this person and her seem to have some sort of bad blood with each other at first. We don't know what it is, but there's clearly some tension between them. We then later find out that Agent May, the toughest person on the show who doesn't show any feelings, is actually talking to her ex-husband. This is pretty surprising for me as in the viewers and the audience, because I never thought May even had a love life besides her and Ward last season. But it's pretty cool to see that, and it's kind of teased about their whole relationship later on in the episode. Oh, it's also kind of cool how the guy, May's ex, doesn't want anything to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. So it kind of alludes to something happening in the past with S.H.I.E.L.D. and him, and he just doesn't want to deal with that whole junk. And it kind of alludes to them breaking up because of that, their work. We then cut to the supervillains breaking into a facility led by none other than Sky's father in a truck, and it's a pretty cool scene. So after May picks up her ex, they go back to S.H.I.E.L.D. and the bunker. We see that Simmons is very over eager to talk to the guy because, she has a lot to do with Sky's powers and how it's going to be dealt with. He even says that she is overly, briefing him, which is unnecessary, which is kind of funny. We then go to Sky and May's ex actually getting interrogated. And she just explains to her about her powers and how she doesn't want to control them. What's really cool about this scene is that Sky actually, tries to hide her feelings using jokes, and May's ex actually comments on that. He actually uses jokes and tries to open up to her as a mechanism for her to open up to him about her powers. We then cut to Bobby and Colson in that facility where the supervillains had just broken into. We then find that they are trying to find two villains, and one of them is taken down by Bobby very quickly. The inmate that was taken was actually a really powerful dude who has vocal powers, and he was tested on by radioactive energy on his throat. Sky's father leaves a pretty cool note on the wall saying "fight on," and that leads into the episode of where they're actually gonna have a little fight. We then go to May and her ex, just relaxing, having a cool drink with each other, just talking about the old times. Fitz pops up in the background and he notices that they're actually talking, making jokes, and May's smiling, which is really odd for the character. Fitz gets a little not uncomfortable, I would say, but he's really odded out by the situation, so he goes to the other room where Simmons is, and he tells her about it. What's funny about this situation is that Simmons and Fitz actually start talking about their own situation about someone else's situation, and I don't think they're really aware of it. Suddenly, there's an earthquake, and it's obviously from Sky. Because Sky is shaking the bus, this is not good for the guy who's monitoring her because he might deem her unsafe and unstable. We then cut to the supervillains at a cafe or a diner, and they're all talking about, maybe we shouldn't, go after S.H.I.E.L.D. because what have they really done to us? It's already been done, right? This is when Sky's father goes on a tangent saying, we can't let them do this to us or our people, saying that, if they hurt us, they'll hurt us again, or they'll hurt my daughter. This is when Sky's father breaks a mug when he's in anger. It is a pretty funny scene because you see that he actually does have some powers, and it's really cool when he uses it when he gets frustrated. This is also our first look at the guy who they escaped from prison, who has a mask around his mouth, showing that he's a really serious dude and you don't want to take that out because he will seriously hurt you. We go back to the group, and then we see that Bobby and Colson are talking to each other, and he mentions Hunter. Colson notices that Hunter hasn't been around after he gave him the job opportunity, and he's wondering if that has anything to do with Bobby. It's here that Colson tells her, if you've been sleeping with him, just let me know. She admits it to him and apologizes for it. It's through this conversation with Bobby that Colson realizes that Sky's father is gonna fight on. That really refers to his old high school, or where his father went to high school. where they're going in Wisconsin. We then cut to the supervillains who are taking off the mask of the dude who has a really loud voice. This is a pretty interesting scene. We see that all the supervillains are, back behind where the guy's about to unleash his voice, and they all have earplugs in. Once we see this guy step out into the open field and see him move his jaw around, we know that shit's about to go down. Basically, the guy just stands there, looks around at the high schoolers and the cheerleaders, and he just opens his mouth. This guy's just like, ah! Like his jaw is like so big, and then like all the high schoolers and cheerleaders just drop. I thought this was really well done, like shot wise. Like they did a pan around him while he was yelling, and I thought it looked so sick. It's pretty funny. At the end of the scene, when all the high schoolers and cheerleaders fall, we see birds fall, and then like Sky's father is just like, geez, you're really, really strong. This was a pretty cool power, and to those who have read the comics or know anything about the Inhumans, Black Bolt, the king of the Inhumans, actually has similar powers, but they're way more stronger. Like he can literally blow up a whole entire city with his voice if he just whispers something. I thought this was a pretty cool nod to the character and his powers and abilities. We then cut to Mack and Hunter, and Hunter's still tied up, and Mack, offers him a little something, some pizza with his favorite beer. It's kind of funny. Hunter kind of just tells him, unless you're gonna tell me the truth, I don't want to hear your lies. At this point, we still don't understand what Mack and Bobby are doing, or who they work for, so it's pretty interesting to see how they're treating him. They're not treating him like, oh, we need to kill you or anything. They're more like, we want to inform you, but we can't tell you yet. Personally, I think that Mack and Bobby are working for S.H.I.E.L.D. What if Bobby and Mack are actually like Skrulls? Like that would be crazy, but I highly doubt it's gonna happen because I think Fox owns the rights to them, so never gonna happen really. We then cut to the football field and we see that Colson and his team are there, and he walks out with Sky's father narrating, telling him to come out or these kids are gonna die. Of course, Colson, being the person he is, he comes out and tells them, don't hurt these kids. And then Sky's father comes out and he says, oh, you're gonna pay for what you did. He gets a gun to his head. Just as he's about to, kill Colson or whatever, May comes out with Sky. May informs Sky's father that she's on the index, so it's either she's killed or she's stored. Sky's father then realizes that, Sky is too valuable to be, killed or anything, and they love her too much to do that. So he automatically is gonna go back and kill Colson. Just as he's about to do it, bam! The teleporter guy from the last episode comes up and takes him and teleports out of there like that. I was totally shocked. I was like, what the hell? How do we? That was really weird timing. But basically right after the teleporter guy comes, Colson and his team wrap up the whole other villains by beating them up in some pretty cool fighting scenes. As they were fighting, Sky thought that she could hold in her anger and her emotions to stopping the earthquakes, but she actually does cause an earthquake, and what happens is she starts, getting these marks and bruises on her hand. We then learn that Sky actually is starting to get control of her powers, which is really interesting, and this kind of leads into the fact that she may be able to control them and get a suit so she won't hurt herself. We then go to Simmons and Colson, and she pretty much tells him that, there are two types of powered people. There's cyber genetically altered people like Deathlock, and then there's also people who have the powers already inside them, the Inhumans. As wrapping up the events in the episode, May and her ex are basically talking, and he tells her that Sky should not be here, she's unbalanced, and it's not safe. We find out that in the end of the episode that Mack and Bobby are actually working for the real S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't know who they are, but they are working for a higher up level of S.H.I.E.L.D. that Nick Fury knows about. They end off the episode with basically, I think they're gonna tell Hunter what they're working for or who they're working for and try and fill him in and get him to join. This is really cool because I feel that Hunter, he's pulled his weight in the season, and I feel like he deserves to be in whatever they're working on. The end credit scene in this episode was really interesting. It goes to the teleporting guy, and basically it shows that he's in the room with Sky's father. He basically tells him, are you done going out, unleashing your anger, and are you ready to find out what's happening? Sky's father basically, tells him that I'm a part of you guys, and the teleporting guy tells him, you are different from me and you. You were genetically altered. I was born with this. He's basically telling him that, I'm an Inhuman, you're some messed up science experiment, and I believe that's what also Simmons was kind of telling Colson, but not as direct. Sky's father also says, are you gonna kill me? And the teleporting guy says, no, I'm not gonna kill you, it's not for me to decide. This is showing that there are other Inhumans out there, and they're higher up people, and they have a kind of level to how they negotiate. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. It's not as good as the last couple few, I'm gonna admit, but I thought it was really good at serving the purpose of pushing the story forward with the Inhumans, bringing the first superpowered villains for the S.H.I.E.L.D. team to face. We only have about 2 more episodes left in the season, and I felt that this episode really served as, kind of wrapping up things and pushing it forward with the whole Inhumans and, trying to put that together with the ongoing story. So I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed it. there's more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes to come, 2 more specifically, and I'll definitely review those, so check it out. Also, what do you guys think is going to happen in the finale or the next 2 episodes? Feel free to comment in the section below about that. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. So I will see you guys in the next episode, which is probably going to be either a theory video or the next Walking Dead episode. Alright guys, thank you so much. Until next time, peace.